SoulForge SMP, Minecraft Bedrock's biggest private SMP. I've been here for 7 months, and I have made a plan to take over the server. But as I moved my pieces into position for my final arc, little did I know that my final hours in the SMP were drawing near. This is SoulForge SMP, the end.
Took the spoils and we fell down at the shoes. But now they are gone, and my sanity's kept by my chains. So I bear them both in faith and hate for family and all that remains. Fight to ignite, not for gods, nor the coming of night. If I'm the last of the men to fall, then this warrior's growing in might. For fear and for love and survival when push comes to shove. The red is coming to take you home, the bearer of a soul and of light. Of the lights fading too. The castles long have fallen and the paintings faded blue. So here, now you stand. We are human yet for something new. The last prize has been taken. Now the red hood faces you.
Okay, so quick recap on what happened last time. In the last video, I betrayed my old team because they were AFK all the time, and because I got the soul effect, and I thought they were going to take it away from me. Now on this server, if you don't know, we have 5 special effects, and 2 of those, the soul effect and forge effect, grant the wielder netherite weapons and netherite armor. And I had the soul effect, which grants you the first. And I thought my teammates were going to betray me because giving it to me was like the equivalent of keeping a nuke in your basement, and not in a cool way. It was just not a very strategically sound thing to do. So before they could make a move, I decided to make my move first, and I gave it away to another player, in exchange for his loyalty, and that player was named King Colton. This guy is the most skilled, and now the second most powerful player on the SMP. And having his loyalty is very, very much useful. And now it's been like 2 weeks, and my teammates still have not figured out that I've betrayed them, which has only proved my point that they are super AFK all the time. So I think that I've waited long enough, and it's time to move on with phase 2 of my plans. My plan is pretty simple. I'm going to go through all 4 of the effects, one of which I've already gone through, and I'm going to take these effects from the people who have them, and then either give them back to them in exchange for their loyalty, or give them to someone else in exchange for their loyalty instead. Now, you may be confused because I just said 4 effects when I just said 5 a while ago. And that's because a while ago, the Breach Mace effect was destroyed back when people were, like, stupid and I guess thought that it would be a good idea to delete the effects because of balance or some stupid stuff. Like, nobody needs that crap, bro. Nobody cares about balance on this server. At least I certainly didn't. I just wanted power. Because, like, isn't that what everyone wants? So, now I had 3 targets, and I had to choose between one of them. The first target we have is DeSweeney, my mortal enemy on this SMP, who has the Forge effect, granting him netherite armor. The trick is that I can't make my teammate Colton kill him because Colton made it a condition on our contract that I can't make him kill his teammates. So, yeah, that kind of sucks in this case because Sweeney's his teammate. But that's okay, I can just pitfall trap him. Oh wait, he's my mortal enemy. He'll never trust me. Okay, well that avenue's closed off. The other options are either Eclipse or Ray. We could choose Ray. After all, Ray is definitely gullible enough to fall for a trap. But honestly, after betraying him once, I can hardly bring myself to betray him again, since none of the things which I said about my team really apply to him. I mean, yeah, he was kind of okay too, but honestly, his skills more than make up for that when it comes to battling time. So, honestly, he was a good friend to me, and I just cannot bring myself to betray him twice in such a short period of time. So, Ray is off the table for sentimental reasons. My only option left then is Eclipse, who wields the basic mace effect. So, here's the issue again. He's better than me at combat, has a mace, and again is King Colton's teammate. Meaning that literally my most valuable resource, Colton here, is about as useful to me as a truck full of netherrack. In other words, completely useless. So, I'm gonna have to deal with Eclipse myself. Thankfully, though, Eclipse, unlike DeSweeney, is not my mortal enemy and is definitely gullible enough to fall for a pitfall trap, especially the one I'm about to do. You see, a while ago, I found a massive 16 by 16 void hole, which had come, it just appeared at spawn. I don't even know why. But for some reason, it's there, and it goes all the way down to the void. And it is the perfect spot to make a pitfall trap. But not just any pitfall trap, the largest pitfall trap in this server's history. Because when I build something, I want to just make it monumental. I want to make, like, everything super cool about it. And this is the way to go about it, okay? Make things big. So, I started by filling in the bottom layers. But then I ran into my very first problem here. I need dripstone. I literally need 4 stacks of dripstone. Do you know how much dripstone that is? That is ridiculous. But hey, I am literally like the richest guy on the server. Come on now. I literally rated my entire team, the most dominant team, by the way. Literally, like, I rated their entire base. Surely I have enough dripstone. No, I don't. I literally only have like 7. So now I have 2 options. Either I can go do the boring thing, which means go gathering more, or I can use a super cool thing I found out in the last video. Yeesh, we're going back to the last video, well, aren't we? Anyways, in the last video, I found out that by making a nether portal outside of the overworld border, when you go through that portal, you will get teleported back to spawn. But you'll be teleported back in a limbo state, not like walking out of the overworld border as normal. And in this limbo state, you can drop things. That's literally like the only thing you can do. But when you go back to spawn, those items will still be in your inventory and will also be on the ground. Meaning, if you didn't pick it up by now, I found a dupe glitch. And the thing is, duping on the server is literally a bannable offense, but who cares, because also, it says that in the glitch exploits section that you can use glitches if it's for a video. Guess what, I'm using it for a video. So I decided that, hey, doing it once can't hurt, right? And yeah, that's probably what everyone said ever when they were about to do something bad, and it wasn't very different, as you'll see. But I thought, hey, doing it once can't be that bad, so I duped it until I had enough. Placed it down. My next issue was wood. Don't laugh. That's not what I meant. My next issue was wood. I needed a ludicrous amount, because you see, this is a 16 by 16 trap, which means for just one layer of walls, I need an entire stack of crafting tables. And by the way, this trap, it goes all the way down to the void. Did I mention that? Which, on the current height level, is over 150 blocks, which means I need more than 150 stacks of crafting tables. But I had already resolved that I wasn't going to dupe again, so I went to the jungle and I started chopping for literally days. But after days and days and days and days and days of chopping, I finally got demoralized enough that I was like, you know what, screw it, it's for the content, and I duped again. And yep, there we go. I've literally done an abandonable offense twice. What the heck are we doing here? So, now that I have enough wood, I started to excavate the walls, which, by the way, was a ludicrous... Like, it took literally so long just to excavate. It is, like, unbelievable how long this project was taking me. And then, I started to place down the crafting tables, which also took me hours. Literally everything about this project, like... You know, I wasn't expecting to put this much work into it, but then again, when you're making a project of this scale, what else can you expect? Like, it's literally the largest trap on the server. It's gonna take hours and hours and hours. And I'm not a streamer, so I can't really get anything out of that. That's sad. Anyways, while this is all going on, something else was happening in the background, but I thought it wouldn't really matter. I had gone into yet another argument with the SoulForge admins, as was quite common, due to the SoulForge admins kind of being a bunch of, well, annoyances to me, and me also being an annoyance and kind of a prick and a know-it-all. They just couldn't bear to allow them to say stupid stuff or spread around false things. So I basically continuously got into fights with the SoulForge admins. And I got into yet another one, and this time I was kind of sick of them just being a pain in my freaking mirror. So this time I decided I was going to win no matter what, so I just refused to back down. And the thing is, I underestimated just how corrupt these people could be, and their capacity to make things up. So, in the end, they lied about me, made some false charges, and despite their reasoning being absolutely crappy, they were able to temporarily ban me for a... Well, I thought it was going to be something serious, but they only banned me for 2 weeks. Anyways, that ticked me off, and I thought, hey, I ain't going to take this anymore. So I took my TNT and took it to spawn. And I thought, do I really have it in me to blow up spawn, to vandalize these other people's hard work? No, I'm kidding. I did not think of that at all. Like, I didn't have a second thought about it. Literally, almost all the work was done by these same people. But now, as I looked on my destruction, I thought, Yeesh, this is pathetic. What the heck? This could be fixed in a day if I were not the one who had done this, I could have fixed this in a single day. Like, wow, this is literally nothing. And I just realized this is if this was gonna be what I was remembered as, like this is my last act. Yeah, this is gonna be a compound of all my failures. Ever since I joined the SMP, my goal has always been to impress these people, to show them just what I can do, to truly be one of them. And yeah, I've never really been one of them. My arcs have been subpar, my videos are subpar, my combat skills are subpar, everything I do is subpar, never good enough. And here I am. If this is my last action on this server, this is a compounding of all my failures. If I do this, this is the end to my legacy, my 7-month legacy on this server. I could not allow this to be the end. If I was going to destroy Spawn, I was going to truly destroy Spawn. So, I ran off. For some reason, the ban had not been enforced yet, which meant I had a bit of time to move around. So, I decided to go to the only gunpowder farm I knew of, which was out in the desert away from my old base. But, on the way there, a player logged on. It was Eclipse. Eclipse did pose a bit of a problem, because he could go to spawn, and if he did, he would see the destruction, and since I was the only other player online, he would automatically assume it was me, despite my reputation. So I was very worried, but I kept on walking. And to my dismay, he did indeed go to spawn. And he did indeed assume it was me, despite my reputation. So now, I was given a choice. I could either lie and get away with this, or I could tell him the truth and be permabanned. And at this point, I remembered all the lessons I had been taught on this server, all the bad things that I had been taught and that I had believed. And what I had experienced was the deceitful person is rewarded. And so, with my legacy as I thought at stake, I decided to make an exception to my rule of never lying. And I lied. I told him I hadn't been to spawn in ages. And I got away with it, scot-free. And now that I had lied, there was no going back. I had just betrayed my honor. And now, the only thing left was my legacy. I went up to the tower and started farming gunpowder. Eclipse didn't bother to inform anyone of the destruction, and I was able to craft my TNT in silence. I gathered all the TNT I needed, gathered obsidian, redstone. I gathered up my wither skulls that I've been keeping just in case, gathered up soul sand, and began duping them. I then transferred all those items into shulker boxes, and that I was ready to destroy Spawn. But now I began to think, I had gotten away with what I had just done, completely scot-free. I was only banned for 2 weeks. The griefing wasn't pinned on me, and I had everything I needed to destroy the server in my hands. I could pull it out and spawn 60 withers at spawn. In mere moments, spawn could become uninhabitable, with no one to stop me. Why on earth would I do this now? I wanted to complete my arc. I didn't want this to be the end of my legacy. At the end of the day, I wanted my legacy to be one of successful accomplishment through legitimate means. I wanted to be honorable. I did not want my legacy to be one of deceit. That was not who I was, but it was who I was becoming, and I did not want to become that person anymore. So I hid my stuff away and began to travel back home. But then I realized something. I was going to be gone for 2 weeks. What if someone found the stuff I had just hidden at spawn? It was way too much of a risk to leave that stuff there. So I ran back, right to the pillar where I had stashed my stuff. And there, standing directly above the stuff, was Eclipse, with his mace. For a moment, I thought that he potentially might have found the stuff, and was ready to kill me. But surprisingly, he had not found the stuff. But he could very well still kill me. I was very cautious. I played it off like I had just come to see the destruction. And thankfully, Eclipse, being gullible enough to believe me, he believed me. So, I was able to successfully retrieve the stuff. And I very carefully started to make my way away from spawn. And as soon as I was through the nether portal, I bolted, running as fast as I could to my old base, where I hid the stuff in the floorboards. And there I thought it would be safe. Nobody would bother to dig into the floorboards of a sky island. And with that, I logged off, preparing to face my 2-week ban. But I was surprised, around halfway into the ban, to find out that it had not been enforced. And thanks to me having a much freer schedule than most members, I basically had most of the week without any interruptions available, meaning I could basically just play with impunity. And seeing that the ruling was very much corrupted, I decided that I wasn't going to honor the SoulForge admin's actions. And with that, I began to continue work building up my trap. But I ended up making a tragic mistake. I released yet another video targeting the SoulForge admins for their corrupt work. And this finally took the cake. The SoulForge admins counter-moved hard, and I was about to face a permaban. And now I had to make my move. I had no playing around to do. I couldn't make my legacy one of honor or finish up my jobs. This was the end, and I knew that. So I bolted right back to my base and dug up into the floorboards. I looked there, and there was nothing. I panicked, thought that maybe they had found the stuff, but there was no way. They would have known. They would have called me out. They would have known this was my base. So I thought maybe they reset the map. And in desperation, hoping that they would have reset the map to the exact right time, I rushed back, hoping to find my stuff inside of the pillars. But it wasn't there. There was nothing. And I realized that because they had reset the server map anyways, and because I had placed down my shulker boxes, they had been deleted. And now, it was all over. And the last things that I could think of was that I had failed. as I was permanently banned from SoulForge. Well, that was depressing. Hello, nerds. I'm here basically just to give a bit of a final address here. So, I want to make it clear I do not agree with my actions in this video. A lot of my anger and, well, bad will towards the SoulForge members came from me internalizing a lot of negative things because I pushed myself way too hard when I came to the SMP. I wasn't ready for it, and I started off way below a lot of other people, and I just didn't have the same learning pace as everyone else. So I started thinking I wasn't good enough, and I started thinking everyone else just didn't like me. I thought everyone looked down on me, and I hated it, and I tried to push harder and harder, and it just didn't work. And over time, I just became more and more willing to just do more drastic things in order to complete my plans. Until, as you see, I got to this point. I was willing to break the rules and other such things. And at the end of the day, that obviously this is all my fault. But there is one last little thing I would like to say about the SoulForge admins. Now, you may be a bit confused if you saw my last video where I said that I was wrong about SoulForge. You might be confused, how can I be right and wrong? Because here, I'm saying that the SoulForge admins were doing things in a corrupt manner, and that's actually true. It's not just like... It wasn't exactly the same thing the whole way through the situation. When the situation started out, I was absolutely correct. All of my arguments were based on the legal system that SoulForge had given, and my opponents, the admins, were trying to find loopholes or move around the system. And so, actually, for the entire argument, I was actually correct legally. Now, obviously, I was doing duping behind the scenes and breaking the rules, but from what they could see, my arguments were technically all correct and legal, which is why they had to play dirty to beat me. But one of the big reasons why I was pushing so hard was because I knew that eventually they were going to find some sort of dirt on me, and as the situation drug on, that is what happened. And now, so far off from then, I basically, for a long time, I was very, very mad at the admins. Because anytime I argued with them after the events of this episode, anytime I argued with them, they would never state additional evidence. They kept saying the same old things, and I never heard any new viewpoints or arguments beyond the ones I'd already debunked and proven were false, which made me continuously think that the SoulForge admins were either stupid or hypocritical or liars, because I was never given any additional context, and it's just because we kind of didn't actually try. We didn't try to talk. I just attacked them, they attacked back, and it went nowhere because, from my point of view, they were completely wrong, and from their point of view, I was wrong, but we didn't ever come to an agreement because I was missing out a lot of context, because the thing was, I was basing my situation, or my context was the context that the whole situation had happened in, like, at that time. But they were talking about things that had happened before the situation and other such things. And some of those things, I will say, were irrelevant. They could not really be used against me legally. But at the end of the day, I really still do I still do disagree with the SoulForge admins on what they did there. Many of their arguments at that time were manipulative, even if now they had some correct arguments. For instance, the political talk, rather than what they did with it back then, I actually did post a political video in the Discord server, but no one had ever brought it up, so I didn't think it was an issue until they brought it up recently when we talked again. So I will agree that I actually did do that. And it was in Season 3, so they could use that against me. So I will agree that the political talk maneuvering they did against me was technically justified, even if their original reasoning was completely ridiculous. And at the end of the day, what they did in banning me was a reasonable thing to do. Even if I think that they should have modified the rules if they were going to do what they did there, and actually added things that were against the rules to the rules, rather than just going outside of the point system and actually just making the point system better. But at the end of the day, it's their server, their decision, and I was a problem. And it was really best for all of us that I got off that server, including me. It was best for me that I got kicked off that server. So I just wanted to clear that up. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and this is the end of the SoulForge videos. So after this, I don't plan to upload very much, but I intend to kind of go ahead and like kind of not upload for a bit, and then just upload a few animations for a bit, and then I'll come back and make some more Minecraft videos later. But the next time you'll see me, it'll probably be the last day of the month. I intend to upload an animation then, and I'll see you whenever after that. Anyways, bye. See y'all around, nerds.